Hi folks, Lionel here. Hey, this is another video on our HubSpot users tip series. What I'm going to be talking about today is a little bit about your CRM management and specific to the deals pipeline. So one of my favorite parts of HubSpot, when we're doing tours for potential new HubSpot customers, we actually take a lot of time to go through a bunch of the tool, like, what happens at the contact level, the conversations tab, what's going on there, the whole marketing hub, right, with creating email marketing in there, landing pages, forms, calls to actions, all that sort of stuff. And then, we would normally finish off on the sales side. And the reason that we finish off on the sales side and we look at this pipeline is basically everything that we are doing in the HubSpot environment is to populate this dashboard. The reason that we finish up on this screen here is we want the users of HubSpot and the leaders of the business to be able to make intelligent decision based on data and to be able to look at their sales pipeline, and within just a moment's glance, they're able to see, the success and health of their business right now, and also what's coming up over the weeks and months to come. So this is just a quick example here. Every business is a little bit different, but at the same time, there's a lot of similarities between, various businesses. So how I have it set up right now is we have the first stage of the dashboard, and that is MQL to contact. So let me walk you through this scenario. Let's say Brian, and this again is all just our demo account. So he's actually the CEO at HubSpot. Let's say he comes to our website and he fills out a form wanting to have a meeting or request an estimate, something like that. We would have a workflow in place that it automatically takes his information and creates a deal. Now, based on what he was asking for, we know that the value of that deal is, $24,000 in a year. So that's why that's in there. Also, we've checked off that it's a high value prospect. So that's how that initial deal would come about. Now, at this point in the sales process, no one has actually reached out to the contact and qualified them. So that's what this next stage is at. So basically what happens is someone would be reaching out and speaking with Brian to be able to qualify the lead, right? Are they in our service area? Is this request something that we can accomplish successfully? Will this be a profitable deal? All of those sorts of things, is timing good? And then assuming that those criteria are met and they are a good prospect, then what would happen is we simply would click and drag them over from the MQL to the SQL stage, and then they would sit there. And you notice again, we have the revenue potential in there as well. Then we would just continue to move Brian through the pipeline there, right? So now we have two people at the SQL stage. So now in this fictitious example, the next stage is to be able to have a proposal or estimate and get into negotiations. So, what happens here is this stage, SQL to book a discovery call. I know that the next thing I need to do is book an actual discovery call where we're going to talk about his business, what the challenges are, pain points, all that sort of thing, and talk a little bit about what we're able to do to help them out. Once we're completed that, well, now what we're going to do is we're actually going to just click and drag Brian over to the proposal estimate stage. So we now know that he's progressed past the discovery call and we're actively putting a proposal together. Generally, again, every business is a little different. We'd be speaking to Brian about what the potential cost is for the project, what the value is to his business, what are the risks if he doesn't proceed. We'd have those types of discussions and basically just do like a trial close and make sure he's familiar with what the potential investment is, timeline, scope of work, all of that. Once he has seen all of that, but has not seen a contract yet, we would just pull him over into this next stage, right? So now that he's agreed in principle, now what we would do, again, in this case, is we would put an actual contract together. So that will lay out the scope of work, roles and responsibilities, timeline, investment, payment terms, all of those types of things, right? And then when that's ready to send off, then we basically send that off. And so now we know that the ball is in his court, the contract has been sent. Now we're just waiting on him to either approve it by signing it, or we'd have a little bit more negotiation and a little back and forth. Now, a really neat thing actually with HubSpot is it actually integrates with a lot of other tools that you may use specific to proposals and contract management. So, DocuSign, for example, Panda Docs, Proposify, we can basically build out these really nice proposals in those tools and integrate them here. So if I create a proposal in Proposify, for example, which is a different software, it'll actually create a deal automatically in our pipeline, which is pretty sweet. You can actually, within the HubSpot environment, build proposals and quotes, so you don't actually have to use an external tool. But if you've already been using, PandaDocs or Proposify for several years, you don't need to change that. You just integrate it, and it fully syncs with your pipeline. So now Brian is pumped to be able to work with us. He signs the agreement digitally, again, whether it's with PandaDocs, whatever tool it may happen to be, or HubSpot's proposal tool. Then what happens is automatically, again, without even needing to do anything, he would automatically be moved to close one. We would then have a workflow that sends out an email to our team. Hey, congratulations, Brian has approved the contract, and that lets our sales team know, that they can celebrate some success there. But it also lets all of our operations people know, hey, we've got a new client that we need to onboard. Let's get to work. So that's when the ops and project management people are going to be building out the boards in Monday.com, getting Slack already, all of that work to be able to onboard someone successfully. Anyway, and that's basically how that process works. And in the event that you lose a deal, then you would just move them to close loss, like Jimmy John here. And then we would normally have a couple different criteria for why a deal was closed lost. So it could be bad timing, wasn't a right fit, they didn't have the budget, whatever. But it's good to be able to have some of those reasons why you lost deals, because then you can look back and say, okay, we keep losing people over budget. So does that mean that we are charging too much, or we're speaking to the wrong prospects, or we haven't built enough value? Who knows what that means, but you would want to look into that. So that's, again, the value of that as well. Final column that I would share here as well is we normally would like to have something like a suspended or long-term nurturing column. And what that means is Colonel Saunders here, he was a good prospect, liked what we were saying, but the timing wasn't quite right. He's waiting maybe on a new hire, and once that new hire is there, then he's ready to engage with us. Again, this is all just fictitious in our demo account. So what we want to do, though, is we do not want to forget about this person. So we just move them to long-term nurturing. We can then actually have visibility on everybody that is a good candidate, but the timing isn't great, and we can just reach out at any time. We would also actually create tasks that would automatically notify our team to reach out and say, hey, it's now time, to reach out to the Colonel. It's 90 days after, see if now is better. Again, we do all the follow-up then. So again, there's just a very quick overview of the dashboard, but that's basically how you're moving people through these different stages. Now, you may or may not have noticed along the bottom here, cool thing is you can actually see how much potential business there is in each stage. And you'll notice that they have weighted averages. So for example, once we are sending a contract to someone, we expect that we would close 90% of those. So whatever the value is in this stage, it allocates approximately 90% of the value. However, if someone is at the proposal stage, maybe we only close 60% of those. So let's say we have $1 million in the proposal discovery call stage of potential business. That would then put in $600,000 into our pipeline. So again, we can look at any moment in real time, how much in potential deals do we have at various stages of the pipeline, and how much have we closed won and how much have we closed lost. The last thing that I'll share, just as we wrap things up here, is I generally recommend for companies to have as few pipelines as possible. In this case, again, in our demo account, we actually have two different pipelines. So we have a sales pipeline and a driver recruitment pipeline. So it's very easy to be able to switch between the two. Now, the reason there's two pipelines in this case is prospects are completely different. The business is completely different. So that's why we want to keep it separate. However, if you have several lines of products that you're selling, I would still encourage you to have one pipeline for that. And then instead of having multiple pipelines, now you just add different filters. So I can actually show the deals. Say we're having a revenue meeting, I can show deals that just, for myself, I am the owner of those deals, or just my sales rep. Or maybe we're looking at deals that everybody owns, but it's just one line of business. We can add that as a filter as well. So again, it makes it really easy when you're running those revenue meetings every single week or month, however often you do them. Again, look at everything holistically in your pipeline, everything at every stage, all the different channels, all the different people moving things forward in a sales role, and how much potential revenue that means to your business. So again, it really is super simple to be able to utilize, but it really can be transformational for businesses if they don't have visibility on who they have in their pipeline and what's about to close and what has closed and so on. So I hope you found that really valuable. Again, I realize it was a very quick overview, and there's lots more that I could dive into here. But if you are using HubSpot and using the dashboard, please share your thoughts on how it's impacted your business. And if you have questions about implementing something like this through HubSpot, please reach out. We'd be happy to be able to answer your questions in the comments below. All right, so take care. Thanks once again for watching this.